Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Today, we find ourselves alongside the serene waters of the Tongass Narrows in Ketchikan, Alaska, a place rich in natural beauty and human history. As we take in the surroundings and watch the ferry cross these peaceful waters, we are reminded of the many journeys that have navigated these channels, marked by both ambition and the pursuit of prosperity. Ketchikan, known as the salmon capital of the world, holds stories that intertwine the tranquility of nature with the tumult of human desire and greed. In this session, we depart from our usual format to embark on a deep exploration into the concept of greed, a trait that silently but significantly influences many aspects of our lives. My recent personal reflections, especially following the indulgences of the festive season, have led me to confront the complexities of this human trait. Greed, often viewed in a simplistic light, reveals itself as a deeply layered aspect of our nature. So in today's session, we are not just skimming the surface. We are embarking on a comprehensive exploration that will take us through historical perspectives, philosophical and spiritual insights, and into the psychological underpinnings of greed. This journey is about understanding a facet of human nature that is often oversimplified, yet is deeply layered and impactful. The importance of understanding greed cannot be overstated. It is a trait that, while often viewed in a negative light, has numerous dimensions and influences. By diving deep into this topic, we aim to gain insights into not just the world at large, but also into our personal behaviors and motivations. I invite each of you to actively participate in this journey. Reflect on your own experiences with greed. How does it manifest in your life? If there is one thing I have learned, it is that the aftermath of holiday indulgence is a shared experience. Over just 3 weeks during the recent festive season, I have found myself 10 pounds heavier. This humbling realization led me to confront a deeper issue: greed. As a Taurus and a type 5 on the Enneagram, I recognize my predispositions. Like a mango tree can only bear its own fruit, we too are bound by our inherent natures. Yet, just as there are different types of mango trees, our expressions of greed can vary. Greed is often seen as an endless craving for more money, fame, knowledge, or even the less tangible, like power. It is about never reaching satisfaction. As I have observed in my own life, saying no to our desires is an act of willpower, a near superpower. Saying no, though, is crucial for setting boundaries, not just with others, but with ourselves. But let us step beyond the physical aspect. Greed is not limited to material things. It encompasses our spiritual, intellectual, and emotional realms. This multidimensional greed means that we can crave beyond just the physical, leading to a complex web of desires and wants. So, as we delve into this topic, let us ask ourselves, when is it enough? How does greed manifest in different ways and areas of our lives? And most importantly, how can we manage this inherent human trait? Our personal experiences with greed are just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Throughout history, societies and cultures have grappled with the concept of greed, each offering unique insights into its nature and how it can be managed and diminished. Let us take a brief look at some historical and cultural perspectives on greed, showing how different societies have understood and dealt with this trait. Ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle and Plato viewed it as a destructive excess, contrasting with virtues like temperance. Eastern philosophies, including Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, saw greed as a source of suffering and illusion. In religious teachings, Christianity considered it a deadly sin, while Islam emphasized moderation and charity. Indigenous cultures often lacked the concept of greed, focusing instead on communal sharing and harmony with nature. During medieval and Renaissance Europe, greed was framed largely within Christian moral teachings. In contrast, modern capitalist societies sometimes view greed as a driving economic force, a perspective critiqued for promoting materialism and inequality. Socialist and communist ideologies view greed as a harmful product of capitalism, advocating for equitable resource distribution. These varied perspectives demonstrate how the understanding of greed has evolved and been shaped by different cultural, religious, and economic contexts. Yet, to gain a more comprehensive understanding of greed, we must also consider the internal mechanisms at play, the parts of our being that often elude our conscious awareness. Our internal operating system, the unseen and often unacknowledged aspects of our anatomy, are the true controllers of our system. These internal workings are governed by specific universal laws, laws that influence every aspect of our lives, including our tendencies towards greed. It is widely believed that there are 7 universal laws or principles by which everyone and everything in the universe is governed. They are mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, operates in perfect harmony and order by virtue of these laws. By understanding these laws, we can gain insight into how they relate to our experience of greed and how we can manage this trait more effectively. Let us now delve into each of these laws to see how they apply to our understanding and management of greed. The law of mentalism. This law suggests that all is mind. The universe is mental. In the context of greed, it suggests that our attitudes towards wealth and possessions start in the mind. By cultivating a mindset of abundance and gratitude, we can counteract the scarcity mindset that often fuels greed. The law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. This law implies that our external reality reflects our inner state. Greed, viewed externally, can be a reflection of an inner lack or insecurity. Addressing internal needs and perceptions can thus alter our external expressions of greed. Law of vibration. Everything in the universe moves and vibrates. Greed can be seen as a lower vibration, resonating with fear and lack. By raising our personal vibration through positive emotions like love, generosity, and empathy, we can transcend the lower vibrations of greed. The law of polarity. Everything has its opposite. Greed and generosity are two extremes of the same spectrum. Recognizing this polarity allows us to find a balance. By consciously choosing generosity and sharing, we can counterbalance the tendency towards greed. The law of rhythm. Everything flows in and out. It has its tides and cycles. Greed can disrupt these natural rhythms, creating imbalances. By understanding and respecting life's natural give and take and the ebb and flow of resources, we can manage greed more effectively. The law of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Greed can lead to negative consequences, both personally and societally. By being mindful of the repercussions of our actions and desires, we can choose behaviors that have positive effects, reducing the impact of greed. The law of gender. This law states that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. In the context of greed, it can be interpreted as the need for balance between the receptive feminine and the assertive masculine aspects of our nature. A balance between receiving, accumulating, and giving, sharing, can help manage the extremes of greed. With this understanding of the universal laws and their influence on our behavior, we gain insight into how greed operates, not just as an occasional lapse, but can develop into a habit-forming pattern. This habitual nature of greed is deeply rooted in our psychological and neurological responses. When we engage in actions driven by greed and receive rewards, whether it is material gain, a sense of power, or emotional gratification, our behavior is reinforced. This reinforcement is not just a societal or psychological phenomenon. It is neurological too. Our brain's reward system, which releases neurotransmitters like dopamine during pleasurable experiences, is stimulated. This system, when repeatedly engaged by the rewards of greedy behavior, can lead to a cycle where greed becomes a more pronounced and habitual part of our behavior. This habituation of greed is often subtle and operates below the level of our conscious awareness, making it challenging behavior to recognize and change. It is not merely a matter of choice or moral strength. It is also about understanding and addressing these deeply ingrained patterns. Breaking the cycle of habitual greed requires awareness, self-reflection, and often a deliberate change in our environment and reactions to it. Techniques like mindfulness, self-awareness exercises, and conscious decision making can help us identify and modify these habitual responses. This concept of habit forming greed can be vividly observed in our relationship with food. Often, we find ourselves controlled by our taste buds, indulging in overeating even when we are no longer truly hungry. Food rewards, much like other forms of rewards, can trigger the same cycle of reinforcement in our brains. When we consume food, especially those high in sugar, fat, or salt, our brain releases dopamine, creating a sense of pleasure. This pleasurable response can make us associate certain foods with comfort or emotional relief, leading to habitual overeating. Just as with material greed, this cycle of seeking and gratifying our taste buds can become a pattern that is hard to break. It is a vivid example of how our desires, even for something as fundamental as food, can tip into the realm of greed. This is especially relevant considering our initial reflection on the aftermath of holiday indulgence. The challenge of controlling overeating and recognizing when we are full is akin to the broader challenge of managing greed in all its forms. It demonstrates how greed can manifest in the basic aspects of our daily lives, influencing our decisions and well-being. Therefore, in our mindfulness practices, it is beneficial to include awareness around our eating habits. Mindful eating involves paying full attention to the experience of eating and drinking, both inside and outside the body. It encourages us to savor each bite, be aware of the body's hunger and fullness signals, and make conscious choices about what, when, and how much to eat. To further assist in this process of self-awareness and transformation, let us engage in a mindful consumption meditation. This meditation is designed to help us reflect on our consumption habits, encouraging a more conscious and balanced approach to how we fulfill our desires and needs. Find a quiet space. Sit in a comfortable position in your quiet space where you would not be disturbed. Begin with deep breathing. Close your eyes and take deep, slow breaths. Inhale peace and contentment. Exhale greed and dissatisfaction. Deep, slow breaths. Now, reflect on your consumption. Think about your recent purchases or desires. Ask yourself, did I need this? Does it bring lasting satisfaction or merely momentary pleasure? How does acquiring this impact others and the environment? Deep, slow breaths. Inhale peace and contentment. Exhale greed and dissatisfaction. Imagine a scale in your mind. One side representing your needs and the other your wants. See yourself adding to each side, aiming for a balance. Feel the sense of peace that comes with this equilibrium. Breathe in peace and contentment. Exhale greed and dissatisfaction. Conclude your meditation with a moment of gratitude for what you have, acknowledging that your needs are met and that your life is abundant. Breathe in peace and contentment. Exhale greed and dissatisfaction. Slowly bring your awareness back to the present moment. Open your eyes when you are ready. This meditation can be a powerful tool in cultivating mindfulness about our consumption habits, helping us to recognize and manage our greedy tendencies. By incorporating these practices into our daily lives, we can foster a more balanced and fulfilling existence. As we reflect on the various facets of greed, I want to underscore a vital point. Greed, like any vice or virtue, is a part of our human experience. It is not something we should feel inherently ashamed of. In its balanced form, greed can drive ambition, motivate us to achieve, and push us towards personal and societal growth. The key is balance. When kept in check, what often manifests as greed can transform into a healthy drive for improvement and success. Understanding this duality helps us approach our traits with compassion and mindfulness, recognizing that more is not necessarily bad, but a part of the intricate tapestry of our humanness. This realization invites us to develop and refine rather than to regress or condemn. Let us embrace this journey with an open heart and a balanced perspective. In conclusion, understanding and managing greed is a multifaceted journey that involves delving into historical perspectives, acknowledging the influence of universal laws, recognizing the neurological and psychological patterns, and actively engaging in mindfulness practices. By exploring these dimensions, we develop a more nuanced understanding of greed and learn effective strategies for balancing this inherent human trait. This journey is not just about personal growth. It is a crucial step towards creating a more harmonious and equitable world. Thank you for joining me on this introspective journey besides the Tongass Narrows. As we stood by these silent winter-bound waters, devoid of the bustling activity of ships, our minds turned not only to the present, but also to the past. Here, where now we find tranquility, there once flowed a tide of human ambition and desire. Centuries ago, these same channels brought seekers of gold, ushering in an era that changed the lives and destinies of entire nations. In the stillness of the Narrows, we find a powerful reminder of the impact of human greed, not just in the pursuit of material wealth, but also in the profound ways it can alter landscapes, both physical and cultural. Let this be a metaphor for our own minds and thoughts, our inner channels. Just as these waters have seen the passage of both serene nature and tumultuous human desires, our minds too navigate between tranquility and greed, between preservation and exploitation. As we leave the banks of the Tongass Narrows, let us carry with us a heightened awareness of our thoughts and actions. Let us be vigilant about what traverses through the channels of our minds, choosing paths that lead to harmony and balance. Until we meet again, may we continue to seek wisdom in every aspect of our lives, learning from both the silence and the stories of the world around us. Our journey towards understanding and managing greed is not just about introspection. It is about transforming our insights into actions that contribute to a more harmonious and equitable world.